Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is that you are. Welcome to the Echo Chamber, powered by Elgato Wave. I'm your host, Jesse. We're joined today by Scripe, raid leader and Echo chef extraordinaire, Suki, one of the leaders of the Echo Final Fantasy XIV raid team, and Frosty from Mogtalk, the gentleman who pioneered community coverage of Savage and Ultimate races to world first in Final Fantasy XIV. Of course, the topic today, obvious looking at this panel, it'll be no surprise to the community full of knowledgeable people paying close attention to goings-on that we are here today to talk about beards. We have assembled from the community's most powerful beards to discuss the power of raid. We're talking about Final Fantasy XIV here today. We have a secret. Echo has a secret. It might not be the most secret that's ever been kept secret, but before we reveal it, let's talk about how we got here. Frosty, we brought you on because you know more about Race to World First and Final Fantasy XIV than probably anyone else. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of this community event?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's started back in the day when no one was tracking a race, and I was just like, hey guys, I can put up a spreadsheet, and everybody was like, yeah, sure. And I put up a Google spreadsheet. I listed everybody out, and I was like, holy crap, we got rankings for a race, and people were happy, and then I never got out of it from there. I just couldn't escape it. Right? It's like every race, there's expectations from the community that I would put together another spreadsheet. Then they're like, hey, what if you did a broadcast? And I was like, I don't want to do that. Then I did it, and it just kept going. Every single step. Like I did nothing. It was literally the community pushing me forward and forcing me into it.
The community wanted coverage, and they found the person to provide it in you.
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe just because I volunteered one time back in, was it 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. And I've just been here since.
Yeah, I think, obviously I don't know the full history. I started playing Final Fantasy XIV relatively recently, just a couple years ago. But in my awareness, it started, the existence of ultimate races started kind of impinging upon my, consciousness with like DSR and top. Is that when you would say things kind of blew up?
DSR and top were like when the actual event production started getting really, really big. I mean, we did coverage back for actually our first coverage we did was for the middle, what's it called? The middle, is it Eden's Promise? I'm sure I've already forgotten. The middle
Eden's
tier.
Verse.
Eden's Verse, yeah, Eden's Verse. And then we did Eden's Promise on our own. So this Ultimate coming up, it's literally just a love note to the beginning of when we did broadcast for the World Race. And it's been a huge journey doing different styles, different ways of doing it and everything else. But it's been amazing. I'm sorry, that was the question, right?
Yeah, of course, okay. Of course. I think it's really interesting. Of course, for the most part, your event has required team participation, right? Like the willingness of top teams to provide their viewpoints, which has often not been the case in a competitive scene where secrets are a premium.
Yeah, and I mean, it is what it is. I always just adapt it to what the community wants. Every single time I've done a world race, it's not like, hey, let's just do this thing because I want to do it. I mean, a little bit. But it was more of like, hey, this is what the community is looking for. Let's see how I can make it happen. What's the technical requirements for it? What's the, conditions for getting commentary and entertainment and everything else? And how do I make this happen? And I just wing it. And that's what I've done for all my life. To be honest with you, when it comes to just like doing things. When I did the podcast Mogtalk, it was just kind of winging it because I wanted to try it, and whatever the community told me they wanted, I just tried to push that forward and keep going. Yeah. And it's been successful since. So
it has. You've done a great job, and all of that work has kept moving that race further forward and forward. We've seen more teams, especially from the top end, streaming in the most recent Savage race than I think ever had before. I think in no small part due to your contributions. And that brings us to now. Yeah, if you folks know Echo, you know that every Echo event comes with an Echo trailer crafted by our very own Mitch. Mitch, show us the future.
Fools, you would stoke the fires of conflict. I shall weave a new dragon song we are reunited. And we shall never be parted again. Come to me, Reisvelga. Smite our foes!
Infinite possibilities condensed into a single moment. I shall restore the power of darkness to this star.
I'm the only one fit to protect her.
I shall fulfill my duty as the Oracle of Darkness!
All right, let's go, everybody. That was so awesome. Was that the first time some of you had seen that, Suki, for example?
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, and you and the team were actually involved in filming that, right? Like those are your characters.
Yeah, we went in with Mitch and we got some good footage. Made a very good video.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, let's get started talking about this event. There's a lot to talk about because I'm not the only one that's incredibly excited about what's coming as we head into Cologne. Suki, do you want to tell us a little bit, introduce your team a little bit to everyone in chat?
All right, hello, I'm Suki. I'm the now caster for the team. On the play Red Mage. Our team has the tank.
Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
You don't have to give away the secrets of what you're guaranteed going to play.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's a little trick. But yeah, there's a. I'm casting. That's all.
You're casting. You're bringing casters to the group.
Secretly playing Picto. Everyone knows. I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Everyone knows about how strong Picto is. Yeah. So there's gonna be shenanigans there for sure. But yeah, we have on our tank rolls, we have Gnar, and we have a new tank this time around, Deathly. We had our old tank, Death, but this guy is more of a death person because
excessively deathly.
He's more deathly than the old Death.
I'm not sure you want your tank to be known as the death guy. Like that's the last person you want to die.
He doesn't die, right? So he's the one who reaps people's soul. He's the one who takes lives.
Okay.
Dies himself, so it's fine. He's gonna do his job well. Healers, we have Raimi still I would say the best healer, and our new healer is gonna be Aura, who probably a lot of people do know, Aura Hoshizora. It's funny with him, we wanted him for a long time, ever since DSR, but he's always rejected us. But this time around, he has finally decided to join us, so I let him heal. I said, yeah, you can go on healer, you've been playing it for a long time, and it would probably be a better swap if I go caster instead of you going caster. So Aura is going to heal for us. We have the same melee, MT, is going to be mailing for the team. And now we have a second guy. We actually we went full international with this guy. We pulled in Misty from Japan, who played on Unnamed back in Top and P8S. Yeah, P8S, who got world first in both of them. Unofficially. But
don't need to go into details.
This is just a recording, right? You just cut this out.
Yeah, we can edit this out, yeah.
So we did, he approached us about joining the team, and we're like, this is going to be a really cool opportunity to play with someone in Japan, because it's generally a very big disconnect between the West and the East. So we're like, oh, this is actually gonna be amazing. So we played with them. We tried them out with like the language barrier. There's a language barrier for sure. But I think he'll be fine. He's a very good player. He's shown like he's understanding us when we do callouts and raid and stuff like that. So we do have really good confidence with him. And then we have Zep. Everyone knows him still. He's still the Fizz range player. Everyone knows Zep. It's not really much to say, I think. And then, am I missing someone? No, that's everyone. That is everyone. That's everyone. Oh yeah, our ninth man. Okay, we have Rumi, who's going to be our raid lead. He's going to call out we've got him calling out every mechanic. And if everyone remembers triggers from back then, obviously those are not allowed. He's going to be our personal human trigger. Anything we need him to say, he's going to call for us. And it's going to be a very valuable part of our team. If we do have other people, I don't want to give up their roles yet. Secrets, keep it under wraps. But yeah, we do have more people who are still going to be participating with the teams.
So I think there will be stuff to be done as an analyst for sure. You're always on the lookout to help the team find improvements, especially when they see a new mechanic and they're getting there. You're trying to solve it for the next pull immediately so that they don't waste time. And of course also just illustrating these strats. That was mostly my role in the last Savage race, because we're used to it from World of Warcraft, obviously, and we're using a software or a website called Figma for it that now more analysts in Final Fantasy in our team will also be using next time. So just all around there, I went to the Savage race not knowing what I will be able to help with, and I just tried to fit myself in. I think I have experience with all sorts of jobs, whether it's VOD reviews or painting strats or coming up with strats or whatever it is. So I'm gonna, and I think Roger as well is in a very similar situation like me. So we're both gonna try to help the best way we can.
Yeah. You mentioned something I think that's really important, not only for you and Roger and everyone else, but also for the casters, the support, and the audience. Anyone used to Echo Race the World First knows that Echo has what is probably most generously characterized as a deliberative approach to progress in World of Warcraft, memed upon a little bit for taking breaks, right? Checking out VODs, painting strats, things like that. And then Suki and his team showed us an entirely new side of the new Echo by never stopping pulling in the Final Fantasy XIV Savage race. Suki, can you tell us a little, is it any different in Ultimate? Do you ever pause to say, okay, we need a strat, let's draw one? Or is it just go, go, go all the time?
When you get to those big mechanics like, Delta and Top and Sigma, those mechanics, do require quite a lot of cooking. You gotta sit down and think about it. So we do take time to solve mechanics at least, because pulling over and over again and dying to it is not going to really solve anything. So definitely will be taking breaks to solve mechanics, but in general, I'm personally not a fan of breaks. I like to just pull, because I think taking breaks kind of takes away momentum. So yeah, in general, just pull.
Do you think it's going to be a benefit this time around to where, so you get to phase 2, see some wild new mechanic for the first time that's got a lot of parts to it, a lot to figure out. Do you think it's going to help you to have Scripe and Roger there to potentially break it down and try to create a solution while you guys keep practicing getting to that point?
Of course, yeah. That's one of the best parts of having them, right? We don't have to stop pulling. They can figure something out while we keep pulling, and hopefully by the time we get back there consistently, they'll have something ready to go for us to just execute. That would be the best case scenario, for sure.
I'm curious. Obviously, the Savage race was really, really fast paced. Did it end up being sometimes useful that you guys could get something sent to you by Scripe or Roger that you're like, oh, this is great. This will ease our execution and add it to your repertoire?
I don't remember exactly how it went, but it just went by so fast. It's just a blur. I don't even know what happened, honestly.
It's a fast race. It was
just
10 hours or something.
Yeah, under 10 hours.
Speaking of that, do you have any guesses about how long the upcoming Futures Rewritten will take?
I'm hoping it's the same as Top DSR, 6 to 7 days. That's I think it's a good point. But 5 days would be okay. But anything shorter than 5 days, I would be very sad about, because that means that they did not, make it as difficult, which I do equate difficulty to fun. So if it dies in like 4 or 3 days, that would be a tragedy in my opinion.
Yeah, when you prep for a long time. Go ahead,
What's
Frosty.
considered difficult for you?
I think top should be the baseline. I know a lot of people do not like top because like the full randomness and stuff.
It's easy enough. I cleared it, so I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you. It's fine.
I do think top should just be like the difficulty should aim for every single time.
We were looking at some VODs recently while we were setting this up, and we saw a screenshot of our pulls being something in the order of 1,728 for Echo to clear top, and that was a progress pull. So I'm not sure if I agree that should be the baseline. That was a lot of pulls, but then we were a very special case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it's longer. The harder the fight is, longer it lasts. Like, like. With the original Ultimates, UCOB and U, like there was nothing like left after those came out. People were clearing them really fast, but like DSR top, like teams are able to play for a long time, and people say there's an issue with the game. There's not a lot to do. Ultimate makes you play every week, consistently with your team, meet up, play with your friends. Some teams
when DSR comes out, they get to play together for 2 months and then take a break and then continue to play again for another 2 or 3 months. Not firing shots at us or anything. So another big piece of news coming into this is that, unlike the last Savage Race, and for the first time, we are collaborating, Echo and Mogtalk, merging our powers combined to cover this race. Frosty, can you tell us a little bit, how did this come about? What is the impetus? What are you looking forward to?
So how did the collaboration in general come about?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Roger, Scripe, you guys want to work together? And they're like, yeah, sure. There it is. There you go. There it is. No, I've been, it's something I've been thinking about, especially since the last Savage Race. Echo has an amazing production team, and just in general, and they're just the events they put on and everything else is something to inspire to, right? Something that you would want your broadcast to kind of look like, having that amazing in-person broadcast with people racing there and everything else. And it's something that people have asked. And actually, when you guys announced it in Savage, I was spammed with messages. Hey, are they going to include? Are you guys going to work together? It was like, no, we're doing separate things. We're doing our own thing this time. We're kind of like working together a little bit with like the leaderboard and everything else. But just kind of getting the feet wet with the race scene in general. And this one, I was like, man, Ultimates are kind of a pain in the butt, dude, to do an event for. It would be nice to have someone who is, to include more power out there for people who are very experienced in world race scenes, especially you guys have done a lot with the WoW world race scene, now coming into the Final Fantasy 14 time, where it's probably the first broadcast you guys have done that's supposed to last more than 12 hours. For Final Fantasy 14. So it's going to be exciting to see what that looks like in person. But I was interested to see what a collaboration would look like. And kind of every single time we do an event, I'm like, how do we make this better? How do we do better for the community? And I think this is something that's really interesting, because you guys will have your in-person event. We'll have people who are common to the world racing from the Mogtalk stream. Actually, there, Rook and Liffy will be there casting with you guys. And then we'll be pulling in the community when you guys are sleeping. So the stream still has activity and things that are going on for people to watch in that kind of downtime. Well, it's not going to, it depends on how the teams race, right? And how fast they go and what teams are ahead. And there's some pretty good teams out there that will be in the race. That could be just in a completely different, like they wake up at a certain time when you guys are going to sleep, and a back and forth. But this will give you one central place to watch the entirety of the race. So when Echo is racing and there's teams that are streaming too, you guys will have visuals of those teams. Of course, there's going to be focus on the Echo team a good bit with the amazing in-person event you guys are doing. But also the rest of the teams will be featured on the stream if they sign up for it, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's going to be a 24/7 show. Obviously, while the Echo team is racing, we'll be featuring a lot of their gameplay with the live casters there, but everyone has to sleep sometime. And while we're sleeping, there will continue to be show that Frosty is providing with some additional casters to cover other teams racing. And then the other thing is, that's a really interesting point, right? Echo historically has put on events featuring the Echo team, right? In the World of Warcraft scene, we feature the Echo team. Other teams have their own races. In the Savage race, we featured our team. Bringing you on board is enabling Echo for the first time ever to provide race coverage, and that is the goal even during the time when Echo is playing, is to keep an eye on the other teams, feature their gameplay as well. If they reach a new phase, if they show a cool new strat, that'll be featured and shown. So kind of merging your community coverage of the entire race plus featuring the Echo team at that same time is something that I'm very, very excited for. Scripe, can you tell us a little bit about like the decision-making process of taking on that huge additional kind of new stuff for Echo, right? Not only going into 14, doing Ultimate for the first time, but also starting some community coverage with Frosty.
Yeah, I mean, so our initial plan was we were not expecting Frosty's proposal. Let's say we were just gonna do our own thing, like we always did. And this time it was gonna be a LAN event. This was something that we wanted to do from the very beginning, of course, since we talked to the guys and signed them under Echo eventually. And yeah, when Frosty came in with the proposal, I was a bit surprised because there's also there was not much time left until the raid. And, you know, we had to now suddenly find extra casters, get the night production. And on top of that, this is already kind of new for us because it's longer stream days, like Frosty said as well, right? It's I mean, we did do longer stream days before. If you remember Tindral and stuff, I did a team of it, but not consistently long. But it's also a shorter race, so I think people will be a bit more like relaxed, because usually for us it's a long marathon, and then it just keeps extending towards the end. Whereas here, it's probably around like 6-7 days, like Suki said, and then it's also a bit better to push extra hours. But yeah, when the offer came in, we thought about it a bit. I was a bit concerned, honestly, if the staff is going to get it done in time and everything. But everyone was really motivated for it from our side. And then when we said eventually to Frosty that we were down, he was down. He made it as easy as possible for us to get it going. Gave us his contacts to, you know, arrange a production team for the night, gave us a list of casters we can speak to and everything, and is still helping us with a lot of things. So it was easier than I thought it would be. I'm surprised, but very happy with how it's going.
It's not over yet.
Hasn't even started yet. Oh, that's good though. I think it's really, really exciting, and I know the community's looking forward to it as well. Well, we can't end this without talking a little bit about Eden, right? This is Futures Rewritten. We've talked about with previous Ultimates. Square has taken the opportunity to kind of retell those classic Final Fantasy XIV stories. DSR retelling the story of Nidhogg and Reisfelgar, TOP retelling the story of Omega, and now we have Futures Rewritten. So I have a question for you, Suki, and it's a little bit of a gotcha question. You know how Final Fantasy XIV has QuickTime events sometimes, right?
Does it?
Where you like spam click the keyboard or something. Yeah.
Active time,
Active time maneuvers, right? So if hypothetically this new Ultimate included an active lore maneuver in which they had a pop-up question about the Futures Rewritten lore, you know, Gaia and Reen and all of that, how likely would it be that your team gets world first? Basically, are you skippers?
I think most of us actually did watch the Eden story back then.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go through it again before the Ultimate for sure. But I thought the Eden story was one of my favorite race stories. I think I skipped through Pandemonium. I didn't really enjoy that too much. And the current raid tier is okay. It's exciting, but it's not like, I don't think it's very story heavy. But Eden's felt very story heavy with Reed and Gaia. So I would be okay with the lore pop-up maneuver question if they showed that.
Hey,
nice.
man,
We'd be able to answer that. We'd be able to easily answer it.
I'm hoping Ultimate has unskippable cutscenes. To bring back and
I want that too. I would actually be
take a breather mid-pull.
Yeah.
I mean, famously, I guess, what was it? Last expansion, the second raid, maybe was it P12? One of them, I don't remember which one, had kind of a clue to the solution in the quest line, right?
Yeah, it was
It's
the
not-
second one. It was like the
Yeah.
Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah, the Phoenix. So it's not unknown for the lore to sometimes give you a clue about how to handle a difficult mechanic, right?
Not at all. That happened in that happened in T. That was a very interesting situation.
No spoilers, so yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
there's
mean, it's not
still
like you
fine.
know lore anyway. I'm not supposed.
I was told, by the way, I want to know your opinion. I was told that it is impossible for us, most likely impossible for us, to figure out T. I don't know.
True.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
unlimited
you guys-
time eventually, possibly, but I don't see you guys figuring it out in like a reasonable amount of time. Yeah, it's a really dumb solution.
I was
No,
told
yeah.
like you would have to like get some leak info from data mining or something like this. Like otherwise, it's not possible.
You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
I'm a little worried.
Uh,
Suki's saying no.
Yeah,
I still
Frosty
remember
said no.
Geo's,
Frosty said yeah. I think Frosty wants to see us suffer.
Suki
Oh,
feels
yeah.
bad for us, and Frosty wants to watch it.
Nah,
Well, so that does bring us to talking a little bit about Eden. Suki, can you tell us a little bit about your experience back with Eden? Obviously, it's very special to Scripe and I. That was our first foray into Final Fantasy XIV. And tell us a little bit about what you remember and maybe what you're looking forward to seeing in the new Ultimate.
Well, Eden is probably my favorite raid tier. I think Shiva was one of the best fights I've ever done.
Base.
Also, you guys mentioned it's the first raid tier you've done. A lot of us in my own team, Eden's the first time we all raided together as well. So this is going back to a classic for us as well, you know. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Shiva. I think the whole tier Gaia was a really fun fight. Promise, the tree before that had really good mechanics. I'm sad that Yoshi said there's no lions, because lions was a very interesting mechanic at the time. It still is, I think. People would still die to it today. But it's kind of a shame that they're not bringing lions back. But overall, I'm glad with the direction they're going with the Eden's, like, the story with the Ultimate, because I'm a big fan of the story again. And Top had the issue where it's not very story heavy, so it was not very
Plenty of
interesting.
story.
It's like
Plenty
a
of
little story,
story.
but like compared to DSR felt like
Yeah.
a cinematic going through it, right? It felt amazing going through that whole fight.
Yeah.
So I'm
DSR was almost Shakespearean, right? They were telling a play in multiple acts and scenes, whereas Top was more of a traditional MMO fight, I think.
absolutely. I love the way DSR was written, and I'm so glad when Yoshi said they're going back to the DSR for, like, you know, DSR style for Fruit, and just the name of the Ultimate Futures Rewritten was just like, oh, this is going to be a good cinematic experience once again. I'm really looking forward to this. But just outside of mechanics, it'll be like a fun experience. It's like everyone watching would have a good experience. You don't have to actually play it. It's going to be definitely a good experience.
Frosty, you probably have a better read on community expectations than any of us. Do you have any? Is there some memes out there or some highly anticipated mechanics that you think everyone's going to be pog champing when they see come up in Fru?
Oh yeah, ice skating, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's looking forward to that. They're like, please give me more ice on the arena. I want to slide around. You know, lights.
I remember
rampant.
I remember at one moment during the Shiva fight, you get pretty deep into the fight and you've seen the mechanics before, and she starts doing the dragon beam, and you're like, oh, we're gonna move in 3, 2, 1, and then ice, and everyone goes off the edge, right? Everyone remembers that moment.
Yeah, it was good. There's a lot of good moments in there. I think if you go back to that tier, a lot of the things that people talked about were lights rampant, right? The cutscene where you have to sit there and look away from the screen for like a whole minute. Then you have, of course, Lions Rampant. You have the crazy time stuff at the end of E8, E12S. You know, advanced relativity, basic relativity, all that wonderful stuff. And you know what's funny? I think a lot of it, actually, people think about E8S and E12S, but I don't think a lot of people think about E4S, you know? Even though E4S isn't going to exist in this raid, it would be cool if we saw, like, Titan or, like, some of the, you know, the reimagined primals show up during the fight, but I can't imagine seeing that. They didn't do that with Top. I can't see them doing that with Fru, right?
I mean, it's possible, like, you can, you know, harness the primal energies, whatever, how they do it P12, E12. So I can see them showing up at least a little bit. But I'm okay with the primals not showing up personally. I like Lean Guy. I like Shiva. I like Harass Velgar. He's coming back from DSR. Harass Velgar again. So that's gonna be again. He's a pretty good character, I'd say.
Now, are you familiar with Roger's insistence about who Harass Velgar is? His name?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. He's going to create a graphic for you called Rafflegagger Strat, and you're not going to be able to get away from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons they could do with it, and I think no matter what, we're going to be pleasantly surprised in some way. I think they are going to have something up their sleeve that we haven't seen before, because they're looking for that really big moment like they had in DSR again, but through right? I think that's important for Square Enix to design a fight that has an effect similar to what DSR had. So there's probably going to be a couple of things up their sleeve, difficulty-wise, and some really cool cinematic storytelling during the fight. And those are usually what if Thancred's going to show up, all right, somewhere.
Only I can protect her. Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're gonna see some pretty cool roommate activity, I think, in that fight too.
I mean, we're rewriting those futures. Who knows? Maybe they're enemies or frenemies at the very least. Maybe a duo fight of some kind, like you had with Nidhogg and Harass Velgar in one phase in DSR. They could be anything.
I would love that. Yeah, read a guide together. That would be really fun to fight.
Yep. So I want to touch on lastly a little bit, kind of everyone's hopes and expectations, right? What are we hoping happens here? Suki, do you want to talk a little bit about your hopes for the Ultimate, meeting everyone in Cologne?
Okay, yeah, I guess I didn't talk about that, but one of my favorite things about this Ultimate is being able to play with everyone in the same room, and everyone's there together and experience the whole thing in physically together. It's one of the things I've been looking forward to, looking at the WoW race, like everyone's together playing. That part is we can all sync up our food time, so there's no like, I want to take 5 minutes now, I want to take 5 minutes to eat later. It's like, random breaks. That's definitely one of the fun parts. I'm really looking forward to be able to play together in Cologne. And yeah, obviously my hopes is we win. That's what we got to do. We got to win.
Got to win. Yeah. Scripe, what are your hopes and expectations for this event? It's a huge project, taking a huge amount of your time and production's time the past couple months. So, what are you hoping comes from it?
I mean, honestly, part of it is just the gamer inside me that just wants to game, right? I count it as gaming at this point, being an analyst outside, even though it's a bit depressing at times. But I like Final Fantasy a lot. I mean, I've said it many times, compared to WoW, there's many good things about it. The only sad thing is that ultimates don't happen that frequently, which, I mean, who knows? Maybe they do look into that as well one day, because of course it's sad to wait for, is it like almost a year between ultimates? I think so, right?
Almost 2 years since stop now.
But it should be now, like, right?
It should be 8 months. It should, in theoretically,
8 to 9 months. Yeah.
On average, with expansion breaks and stuff, a year. That's how I have it in my head. Yeah. But of course, it would be nicer if it was more often. I mean, we just want to do cool shit in the end in Echo, and this is a great way to kind of copy what we've done in WoW and paste it into Final Fantasy and have just more of the same fun with less prep, a lot less despair compared to WoW. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have not done anything yet for Final Fantasy, and I'm planning on prepping for like 3 days, and that's it. And that's gonna feel amazing.
Yeah, that's all.
So yeah, that's the hope. And of course with Frosty, I don't know if in the future we will keep on doing a full coverage of the race. For now, we're just trying this out, seeing how it works. We'll see later on what happens, but looking forward to that as well, to trying this whole full race coverage thing instead of just one team.
Yeah, this is a little bit kind of a merger of Echo's approach with a solo team coverage and Frosty's approach of community coverage. Frosty, we're kind of, and you offered it, right? But we're kind of taking your baby and running with it. Do you have any fears? Do you have any hopes? What are you looking forward coming from this?
Yeah, you don't drop that baby, dude. Yeah, don't do it. But yeah, no, a lot of people who know me in the community know I try to do things, I take a chance here and there with shaking things up a bit, and I feel like this is a good thing to do because you guys have been amazing in the Final Fantasy XIV community. I think the community in general love you guys because you came in there, they feel your excitement when you do races and everything else, and they see the passion. Like, you didn't come in quick, moment when it's real popular and run away. You're still here. So I think a lot of people do appreciate you guys in the community, and I want to be able to deliver and take things to the next level and deliver stuff to the people who work on the event, deliver stuff to the community who watches the event, and try to make things better constantly. And I believe in this sense, especially in this part of my life of crazy things that are going on, this makes the most sense to, give it a go now. And if this goes horribly, I'll never talk to you guys again. And then we'll just do our thing separately in the future, and I'll talk crap on our pockets. But that's fine.
After you reached out to Roger and Scripe and you said, hey, how about we collaborate? They secretly came to me and said, okay, how do we make sure that never happens again?
Yeah.
And we came up with this intricate plot to destroy your event so that you never speak with us again.
Hey, that's okay. I can sleep more. I'm bored.
Well, I know, just looking at chat, that the community is also extraordinarily excited. I'm very excited. I think this is going to be a blast. We're combining, Echo production with Square's amazing ultimates, a phenomenal raid team as well, and then of course Scripe and Roger's cooking, which hopefully we'll be able to feature on the broadcast a little bit as well. So it's going to be so much fun. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us for this panel. Chat really enjoyed it. I want to say thank you to Elgato for powering this Echo Chamber broadcast. And I will see all of you later as we head toward this amazing event in just under 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Don't forget to tune in.